Welcome to the Awaken Heart Podcast. I'm your host, Nancy Walters. Get ready to create magic and miracles as you lean into your heart's desires. I believe not only does the heart want what it wants, but it knows. This show is a weekly deep dive into what it means to live from an awakened heart. I'll be sharing inspiring stories and real conversations with people just like you, who have turned the ordinary into the extraordinary. My mission is to show you how you too can be connected and heart-centered in every area of your life. Your journey to aligning with more love, more joy, and your wildest dreams come true starts now. Hello and welcome to the Awaken Heart Podcast. And this is the first one of 2023. Happy New Year. Now, this is coming out a little later than I had hoped. I had hoped this would be out in January, but there were some unforeseen things that happened in my life unexpectedly this past month in January. And I'll speak into that in another podcast when I can dedicate more airtime to this, because I don't want it to take away from what we are talking about today with my wonderful guest, Jaime Filer. Because as we know, the beginning of the year always starts and people always have these lofty goals. And one of them is always around health, for one. It's, I'm going to get in shape and I'm going to exercise and I'm going to eat better after the holidays. I've been eating everything like crazy, right? Everyone has these New Year's resolutions as they seem to be really focused on in the first maybe couple weeks, couple months. You know, the gyms are fuller, your classes are fuller, all these people that have these dedications to their health goals in the new year. But so many of them fall to the wayside as what your specific health goals really are and where do they really come from. Today's guest, Jaime Filer, is teaching how to get the body you want by developing the belief system that you can, because there is a distinct mind-body connection. And when we work with the emotions that surround our need to get fit or what we want to happen with ourselves physically, it becomes an all-inclusive and balanced approach for overall health and overall wellness, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, and emotionally as well. Jaime's goal is not only to get you in the best shape of your life, but also the most confident and self-assured you've ever been. Jaime shares her vulnerable story around struggling for over 10 years with anxiety and eating disorders, as well as sharing some of her clients' amazing stories of transformation. She shares with us how to effectively integrate a healthy balance of mental and physical health and how she became a competitive bodybuilder through balance and moderation. There is no one-size-fits-all for fitness and health, and it's all a unique, individualized approach. Jaime's mission is to empower females to build the body they desire so that they can take care of their heart and mind. Jaime has been a trainer for over 10 years, beginning when she first got certified at 18 years old. Coaching others, be it in sports or in the gym, has always been her passion. She's so grateful to be able to turn it into a career where she can help people daily. And if you take a look at her Instagram, I'm going to link that below in the show notes, you will see that she has over 100,000 followers who she inspires daily with her energy, positivity, and enthusiasm. I'm also going to put this on Rumble as well. I'm done with YouTube. I cannot be censored anymore. So this will be on Rumble and you will see this woman and her beautiful energy. I was just taken, as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh my God, can I be your friend? This woman has the most amazing energy, and I'm sure you will resonate with a lot that she is sharing with us today on this episode of the Awaken Heart Podcast. Hi, Jaime. Welcome to the Awaken Heart Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Nancy. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you being here, and you're coming from sunny Florida.
Yes. Yeah. The sun never stops shining.
Right. And so you can take your fitness out there and pretty much 365 days of the year besides the hurricane seasons and stuff. So
yeah, right. That's the
yeah,
only, it's totally great in Florida, except when everything gets destroyed because of hurricanes. Yeah.
exactly. And I was in California for 21 years before moving to Portland like 3 years ago. And I'm just like definitely in the cold space here. I do miss the sun. So I will be gravitating towards some environment like yours
I was
again.
going to say, we'll get you down here soon enough.
So I gave a little bit of an introduction in the intro, and I would love to hear, more about your fitness journey. I love what you're doing as far as you do a lot of work, because when we are in physical health, it starts with the inside about how we feel about ourselves, what we're putting into our bodies, our mental, emotional state, and then we can create, this physical excellence, which you have, like, hello, like you've got to go to her website. We're going to post it in the show notes. Like her body is like, boom. And the stories of transformation she has on her site is really impressive. But what is so impressive is how you developed that it comes with self-love and an inner knowing, and you worked from, struggles from the inside and you changed your outer. So can you give a little bit of your background and what led you into this physical fitness journey?
Sure. So I love the fact that you already tied in a physical health, physical fitness and strength to inner strength, but also physical health to mental health, because my journey to physical strength began with my mental health declining. I started my first diet when I was 11. Can't tell you exactly why, right? I'm super far removed from it, but I know that whatever it was, it flipped a switch that would take literally a decade to switch back. But I remember reducing my calories at the time. I remember obviously being too young to get a gym membership. So it was push-ups, sit-ups, running, as much as my, little 11, 12, 13-year-old body could handle, until I was 15, hospitalized for the first time as an inpatient in Toronto's Sick Kids Hospital. 40 days as an inpatient and then 2 months as an outpatient. As soon as I got out, I was obviously quite angry with my parents for taking away my 11th grade, the last month of my grade 11, and then the summer between 11 and 12th grade, right? It was going to be the last time that I saw all of my friends. How rude. Couldn't go to summer camp, obviously. And I just remember getting a gym membership for the first time. I had lied about how old I was in order. I told them I was 16, I was 15, and I was brought into the personal trainer's assessment room. And I'm telling you, I was no more than 105 pounds at 5'7". And he said, what would you like to accomplish? And I said, I want to get stronger. And he said, okay, what else? And I said, I want to be able to do pull-ups. And he said, what else? And I said, I want to squat my body weight. And he said, what else? And that was a turning point for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? It wasn't a turning point in terms of my physical health. Again, it declined. It just kept getting worse, separate story. But it was the first time somebody ever made me feel capable.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first time someone had ever said, cool. I get that those are your goals, but you could have more. There's more out there for you. Your potential is more than you think it is. And even for my little 15-year-old brain, it was so transformative, because I didn't know this guy from Adam, but he believed in me in a way that I didn't believe in myself.
He planted those seeds for you.
That there was nothing I couldn't do or be or have. And I was like, wow, okay, so again, I'm focusing on my goals and whatever, still continuing to lose weight. But on the other hand, I'm like, I want to do what he does, because I want to make people feel like that. Cool. Okay. Obviously I was 15 and I was working like slinging hot dogs at the Rogers Center, right? It was not my time to have a career yet. So again, back to the story, got a gym membership, obviously got a lot worse before I got better and fully recovered. But it was also at that time where I was no longer just so fixated on the cardio portion, because I now had access to weights. So rather than looking like, I hate to say it, but like the cliche ballerina, like just super, super thin, the way you might be picturing it in your head, I had muscle. Granted, I was nothing but muscle and sinew, but I at least had shape.
Mm-hmm.
So that is also what got me started in falling in love with strength, because now people assumed I was strong and they asked me to lift things and they asked me to flex. And I was like happy with what I saw in the mirror. And I was like, man, if some is good, more is better. So now it was zero cardio whatsoever. It was just 3 hours of working through every single machine every single day. And I was in love with it.
So somebody planted those seeds for you and you felt validated and you just really went for it. So initially, maybe you went for cardio because I know that you had struggles with anorexia.
Yeah.
Was that before you, is before you got into the weight training or after? Were you still struggling with it?
So after, I still struggled with it because this is where body image came into play. I would look in the mirror and I would see in my head 150 pounds and 4% body fat. What was actually there was 100 pounds and 4% body fat. So I never had, thank goodness, the type of body dysmorphia where I saw someone who was overweight in the mirror. I just saw myself as this much bigger bodybuilder than I actually was. I thought I legitimately looked like the men who were on the cover of Flex magazine and Men's Health and Muscle and Fitness. So that's when I decided to take my talents on stage. And I competed as like a teen female bodybuilder, open female bodybuilder. And the judges were like, girl, you're not well. You look like you belong in the hospital, not on stage. And I was like, but what do you mean? I look like all the guys I see on the magazines. And they're like, but you don't. You don't. You're really small. So that an actual conversation between myself and a judge essentially helped change my life and my course of history when he told me that I shouldn't consider getting on stage until I had put on at least 50 pounds. Like, okay. So what you're saying is that in order to be good, I have to be bigger. Okay, cool. Not a problem. And that, right. And that's how I kind of got more into body building rather than just the sport of bodybuilding.
So you were open to taking those suggestions or taking those critiques from people in the industry or other people, and you integrated it. You were willing to make the changes that you needed to change. Now, question. So this started all around like when you were 15. So that was about 20 years ago. And I'm just trying to put what was out in the world or what was in the media or what was considered like beautiful 20 years ago. So what was that? 2000 and like 2000, early 2000s.
2002. Yeah. So we had bell bottoms, we had Parasuco jeans, we had Affliction shirt. Everything was really tight. It was back in the day where runway models, and whether it was runway models, Abercrombie models, or Nike models, there was no alternative shape. You were just straight up and down, right? It was the thin is in, period, full stop.
Yeah. And back in those days, I lived in LA. So I had my little Frankie B's. I mean, I was like probably 30 to 31 or something, little Frankie B's. So it's like those little crop tops and little tiny. And it was those Hudson jeans. I couldn't fit in them because I was little, even though I was small, I had curves, but it was straight up and down.
Also, I can't believe we're fashion, very important. The juicy velour tracksuits.
Yes.
You literally can't look flattering in if you're more than a size 2. They only are designed for a size 2, and everyone was wearing them.
No, and I couldn't. I looked fun. I mean, I was tiny, but like I said, I had some curves, and I couldn't wear them. Yeah. I just saw some of those in Marshalls recently. Oh God, are those coming back?
Oh, stay away.
So what would you tell? There's a lot of the younger generation that is so influenced now from social media. They're so influenced like what their Instagram post is. And, you can find anything on there that your algorithms are going to keep fulfilling. Yeah. So a lot of these girls that are in school, like pre-pubescent and high school, there's such pressure to look a certain way, and they're following really unhealthy habits or unhealthy aspirations to be something that they just might not naturally be able to be and do. So what would you suggest to this younger generation as far as finding their own, looking at the truth of what the social media really is and finding their own internal validation for who they are individually as a girl, or, these young girls, like, this is me and this is what I can be and I'm happy with that.
I wish I could shake every single high school girl in obviously the most healthy way possible and say, this isn't it for you. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't the hardest thing you're ever going to have to go through. Wait till you have to pay a mortgage. Like, you think the algorithm is mean? Wait till you're paying federal income tax. That's mean. So I wish that I could just say, listen, the people that you think are the most important in the world and whose opinions you think you respect right now, you are going to forget about them by the time you're in college, because exams are going to kick your butt and you will not have time to focus on who's wearing what. And the algorithm will be a thing of the past when you have to study for an SAT or an MCAT or an LSAT course. I want to let them know that where they're at now is just a snapshot in time. And really, I think this is a reminder even adults can use. Whatever you're going through now is a snapshot in time. And 5 years from now, it will not be relevant. So please do not give it the time of day. Don't dwell on it right now.
Mm-hmm. So maybe they should pick up that book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, because it's all small stuff.
And also, you are a badass, right? We're talking about affirmations, right? Forget about what other people are saying about you. The most important thing is, what are you saying to yourself about yourself? What is your own narrative?
Yes, those are really good books. I'm going to put in the show notes. So it's about finding that own internal sense of self. So there's so much coming at them. How do they begin to take those steps? Yes. Okay. Yes. I'm going to have mortgage later on in life. And, I'm going to have to pay taxes, pay the man. So where do I start now? Right now, I'm 15 years old and I'm not feeling good about myself. And, I'm eating all this crappy food.
Yeah.
And I'm not exercising.
Right. Okay. Oh my gosh. So much to unpack there. I think the easiest one would be the nutrition. All right. Because to an extent, 15-year-olds have control. Granted, they still live under their parents' roof, right? So we're hoping that the parents are having a great influence, not just on what the kids are eating, but on how the kids are talking to themselves. My mom was always on, oh my gosh, it's called the Dr. B diet. And what he does is inject vitamin B6, 12, 18 into you and put you on an 800 calorie diet. So I heard a lot of that growing up. And my mom was on it because my aunt was on it, and my aunt was on it because her best friend was on it. And then all of the women would sit in the kitchen over a black coffee and commiserate about how miserable it is. And the Richard Simmons Sweating to the Oldies videos were always around, right? It was one of the ways I burned calories when I was 14, was just nonstop Richard Simmons videos, because that's what was under my roof. So
I just have to say one thing. I'm going to interrupt. Do you remember Jalad? I think his name is Jalad. I used to do his videos. I don't remember. He was kind of like a Middle Eastern guy. He'd be on the beach.
I do not remember, but that would have been super fun. I remember Billy Blanks' Tybo.
Yes. We used to do that in LA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So I think really it starts with how are the parents talking to their kids about body image, about food and movement? What are the parents demonstrating? Are they role models themselves when it comes to how they're talking to themselves, what they're putting in their bodies, and are they moving, right? Family walks. My wife is a huge fan of family walks with our dogs. And I was like, in what world? Like, why are we walking? And she's like, well, when else are we going to talk about our day together? Well, right. But that's what, like, her mom was big on family dinners, but then also big on family walks. And that was never something I grew up with. So I love it. So back to the kids, right? Okay. To an extent, you have autonomy. When your friends go to McDonald's, you can say no, or you can make a reasonable decision, right? There's nothing wrong with an ice cream cone, right? But are we stopping at that ice cream cone? The other thing I would encourage a teenager to do is create something like a mood food journal, right? The science of nutritional psychology is massive now, but it was not a thing then. And it's essentially the study of how food makes you feel. When I eat a Pop-Tart, take 5 minutes, 20 minutes, reflect on it. Am I sad? Am I tired? Do I have more energy? Okay. And then I have a salad. Okay. How's my digestion? How's my mood? Am I sleepy after eating heavy greens, or am I uplifted? Right? Reflect on food is not good or bad until it makes us feel good or bad. And I tell that, I just spoke to a youth leadership club at the YMCA yesterday. And I said, raise your hand if you think McDonald's is a cheat food. And they all raised their hands. And I'm like, wrong. Every single one of you is wrong. Raise your hand if McDonald's makes you feel bad after you eat it. And then like 3 people said yes. And I said, okay, for you guys, McDonald's is a cheat. Everyone else in this room, we're going after the meeting. You know what I mean? So I think they also have to get rid of that misnomer that food is good or bad.
I never thought about it that way. How does this make me feel? I know I feel awful after I eat certain things, but I really like that approach, because it's when we make something wrong and we can't do it in diets and like you feel deprived of things. It's like, how does it make me feel? And another way to look at it too is always like, how is this like your body? How are you feeling this body? Everything is fuel, and it's either nurturing or it's, hurting your body. And if you ever look at labels and stuff, it's like, what the hell is this stuff?
Right. But the label should say, will make you run faster. You know what I mean? Like if we were to take a look at Fruit Loop cereal with marshmallows and compare the nutrition label to oatmeal. Oatmeal should say, will make you lift heavier. And then the Fruit Loops with marshmallows should say, will put you to sleep. And then it'll be your decision whether you're looking to lift heavier after eating it, or whether you're looking to like go to bed because it's a midnight snack.
That'd be nice and ideal, but we understand, we know why. We're not going to delve into that, but it's like, let's keep eternal patience by like putting these ingredients in this stuff that, they don't it wake us up, because then there goes these patients.
Of course.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that'd be wonderful if they did something like that. And I really like that approach, because I know for myself, diets never work, but I always eat generally healthy. And I know, okay, I'm going to go get my McDonald's Big Mac that I get once or twice a year because I like the taste, but I know for me, it's crap. I know there's nothing healthy in that, but all right, I'm going to have my Big Mac and I'm going to have my shake. And then the next day I eat healthy and lean and clean. It's all about balance and moderation. I find, at least for myself in the life, and it sounds like, you have all the education of what is really good for the body, but then it's also moderation. How does it make you feel? It's not shaming yourself for doing a certain thing.
Yep. 100%. And the other thing that I don't love about restrictive diets is, I've seen trainers give clients like a do and do not eat list. Okay. But if I say, okay, Nancy, whatever you do, don't picture a tree. Don't think about foliage. Don't even picture a tree. Yeah. What does your mind do? You're like, God damn it. I just thought, yep. Yeah, you got me. So if I say, okay, Nancy, don't eat, what are you going to do? Even if you didn't like it, you'd start craving it, because that's just what you do, right? If you have kids and you say to your kid, don't date this person, they're bad news. What are they going to do? Oh my God, of course they're going to date that person, right? Because like it's our instinct to rebel. So that's the other reason I don't tell my clients that there's anything they can't have, because I don't want them to start white knuckling it until Sunday night. And then they're like, okay, it's fine. I ate it. I ate too much of it. I'll start my diet on Monday. Right. If I give you a little bit of it, whenever you crave it, again, just like you said with that Big Mac, your body's going to give you feedback, and you're going to say, this is why I don't have it every day, because it's miserable and I feel bad. Right.
Or you enjoy it and it's bad, and then you just clean up. Cause I do, when I have a good Big Mac, I'm like, it's good, but I know it's like not good for me.
Yeah. Right. And you have it, like you said, once or twice a year. That's it.
Yeah. All in moderation. Yeah. So, God, I was going to say something else just before I'm like, it went out of my thoughts. So we'll go into what we were talking about before we hit record. There's a lot of body positivity going on in the world today. Like it's all good you should always love yourself inside, have that own self-love and love yourself no matter what. But there is like this obesity where you're maybe a couple, 100 pounds or so overweight, and you're taught to it's being pushed to be so positive about that, and who needs exercise in that. And it's, we're even seeing billboards where there's morbidly obese people. And what do you think about, what do you feel about that whole movement? They're going to end up very sick, they're going to end up, it's good to be okay and love yourself, but then it's not okay because you're going to have heart problems, the blood issues, and, it's just not generally healthy.
Agreed. Yeah. So what do I think about it? I think you and I have the same thoughts about it.
Yeah.
I struggle, right? I'm the daughter of someone who was a chain smoker. And I would see, and it's such a cliche comparison, and I have heard it before, but maybe it's because I'm in the fitness industry, but like whenever you see a smoker now in 2022, you glare at them. Oh my God, they're stinky and they're stinking up your air, and you know how bad it is for them. And they know how bad it is for them. And in Canada, they actually have warning labels on the cigarettes, but it'll be like the photo of someone with throat cancer, and there will be a hole, and they make you look at that when you buy or there's a black lung or like a deceased fetus on the cover in order to deter you from purchasing that pack of smokes. But I don't see stuff like that on a Big Mac, right? And I don't see stuff like that on Cinnabon. There's no deterrent, right? Even though the abuse of food is just as much of a problem as the abuse of alcohol or cigarettes. And the problem that I don't think people realize is exactly what you said, right? It's your heart. It's not just your body or what you look like. People are like, I don't know what people think fat is, but it's like a living, breathing, expanding, contracting thing that could sit on top of your organs like your spleen and your kidneys and your diaphragm and all of the other stuff that's in there is now going to be squished and contracted because it's surrounded by fat. And the spleen needs space to breathe in order to do what it does. And the kidneys and the liver need space. They don't need to be constricted. Also, if you've ever tried pouring maple syrup out of a bottle versus water out of a bottle, it looks very different, right? When your blood is full of fat and toxins, it is maple syrup. So the reason people get heart attacks is because it's like trying to push liters and liters of maple syrup out of a tiny little organ across a much larger surface area than it should be. So not only is the blood more viscous, but it has further to travel, and it is having such a hard time because it hasn't gotten bigger. You've gotten bigger.
Yeah. And even
is that enough passion for you? I just want to.
Oh my God. No, I'm watching you. I love your energy. I'm like, oh my God, I love this woman. She's
oh my God.
I love it. You're just no wonder you have so many people working with you, and your Instagram, you've got so many followers. I absolutely love your energy. I was just like enthralled by it.
Thank you. Now there's
passion.
Another coin, right? Yes. I had somebody ask me on a podcast last week and say, well, what do you think about Lizzo's big girls? I said, love them. Why? Because they can do stuff with their body that I can't do. Do I wish that they were a little bit smaller? Okay, yeah. But in the way that they exercise, this is so important, and the way that they move their bodies, they're doing something that someone at 135 pounds can't do. And I respect the crap out of them. So they have this balance of fitness and being overweight. Long term, I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know how safe it is. But right now, they are taking care of themselves from the movement side of things, even if it's not from the diet side of things. And I think that is an important distinction. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, totally. I totally agree with that. And I have seen bigger girls, like much bigger girls than myself, like they can do so much more physically than I can. I used to do, it was called Goddess Fitness when I lived in California, and it was pole and it was aerial hoops. And I did it for 11 months, like, probably went to like 10 classes a week. And literally there's only so much flexibility I could get in some of these moves. And
Yeah.
these women that were probably like, I don't know, couple 100 pounds, literally could go to that pole and literally they looked like air. They looked so graceful and so beautiful, and they were weightless. And then they just move themselves up that pole and like they're upside down and they're splaying these long splays, and you're just in awe of them.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So you can be in such physical shape, but in the long run, it's addressing that maple syrup and the fat issues that's going to get to you in the end. So, and I used to see when I used to go to Europe, like beautiful women that are just like, in these little clothes in Spain, and they're strutting and like they have this beautiful essence. So addressing that essence and just illuminating who you are already, and then getting into like, a little more healthier eating and physical fitness that's going to actually tone your body. We talked a lot, nutrition or fitness is literally inside out. First of all, it's feeling good about yourself and knowing who you are. And then food is like 90% of the journey, right? What you eat. But then there's the physical transformation and physically transforming the right way, which you know how to do because you went into bodybuilding and such. So what kind of, everyone's different. There's bodybuilding, the way you train, and then there's bodybuilding just to like be fit or fitness model. And then there's training to just be, overall healthy and, athletic and movement. So what would you tell each group? I don't know how to say that. How would you, the strength training for all these different?
No, I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. So and obviously this is not self-promotion, but I think there is a distinction between what I do and what a lot of other people do. When people are like, okay, so what's your style? I say, well, look, this is my style, right? All of these bodybuilding trophies. That's not the point. Mm-hmm. What is your style? And they'll take a second and they're like, I like CrossFit when I was doing it. I'm like, fantastic, great. I'm going to build you a program around one heavy lift followed by a 5 to 15 minute Metcon. You're going to be working out 3 days a week to allow for recovery and a little bit of accessory work on the weekends, probably a lot of yoga and mobility also, so we don't injure you. And then a separate conversation with a different, unique individual. They'll say, well, what's your style? And I'll say, doesn't matter. What's your style? And they'll say, well, I herniated my disc last year, so I've really just been doing like restorative yoga. And I'm like, perfect, good. You and I are going to do restorative yoga. I'm going to send you a boatload of links. And then slowly but surely, we're going to work you up into 3 full body workout routines in between the yoga sessions. How does that sound? Right? So that's one of the reasons I don't like exercise. Because I think when people think exercise, they think Planet Fitness, they think Barry's Boot Camp, but fitness is like exercise is all of those things, but it's conquerable. But when we call it exercise, everyone immediately conjures up an image of something they don't want to do, right? I would rather say movement. What does movement look like to you? I love Orange Theory. Go do it. I love berries. Go do it. I want to bodybuild like you. Great. Come on. Let's go. So that is my approach, meeting you where you're at.
Yeah, because if you tell them to do something that they hate doing, like if someone hates running, oh, go run, 3 miles a day, and then they're not going to do it.
No, because not only will they hate it, there's a psychological component too. Not only will they hate it and it'll be miserable, they will not feel heard. They will not feel like I listened to them. So why would you trust that I have your best interest in mind if right off the bat, I essentially put my middle finger up and said, you're going to do it anyway. Right? I don't want that. This is all about trust. This is a relationship, right?
So it's you're listening and they're being heard, and you're doing a personalized approach to what might light them up and what they'll actually continue doing. Because I joined a crunch gym, and I don't go. I go spinning a couple days a week. But when I lived in California, I did I mean, I was doing everything. I was
Yeah.
out. I mean, I was Pilates. I was doing the reformer, which was gnarly. I've done every single thing and I've enjoyed it. I like classes. And there was a period of time when I would work at the gym, but now my gym isn't very close and I just don't go. And so the trainers at a lot of these gyms and these facilities are not necessarily like you listening to what your client needs and catering approach that's specific to them. They're like, boom, boom, boom. Okay, go on this machine, do these lifts. It's like, it's so boring.
Yeah.
And it's no wonder there's so much transformation from your clients. So can you give us a one or two stories of, really huge transformations from some of your, maybe one or two of your clients? I'm sure there's hundreds of them, but there anything that's a big standout? Like maybe something that, a client that really transformed from really not, maybe just not physically, but really not owning themselves.
For sure, for sure. So again, and this speaks to the individuality of the program, but also the integration with mental health. I had a client came to me, they were in an unhappy marriage. They were not treating their body with respect. They struggled with an eating disorder. Like we were lucky. They were lucky to get 500 to 800 calories per day. They were in a job that they weren't super happy with. And the way they spoke to themselves is the way I would not speak to my worst enemy. Like the stuff that they would say to themselves about themselves was just super awful. So we started the inner outer strength program, which is 70% mindset, 30% health set, as opposed to typical personal training, which is like 70% health, 30% mindset. And we worked on, first eliminating who she was following on social media. Like forget water, forget food, forget movement. I said, today you're going to remove 50 people that you are following from Instagram, because step one, control your environment. It's making you unhappy. All right. So then, we removed the 50 people. We started getting her doing affirmations. She was journaling once a day, every day. Then we started adding more water. So her brain would have more fluid. Her body would have more fluid to think. Then we added slightly more calories because I told her she could only earn her workouts if she was fueling properly, right? We said that food is fuel. It's not good or bad. So we bumped her calories up. Anyway, 5 months in, she's gotten a divorce. She has moved out into her own apartment. She has been able to afford it by getting a new job that she adores that pays more. And lastly, she just had breast reduction surgery, which she treated herself to so that she could feel comfortable in her own skin and her outside could reflect her inside.
Wow, that is really incredible.
Right. And it's not about how much weight she lost, because she didn't have any weight to lose. It's about what changed in here in the mind, what changed in her heart, what was coming out of her mouth changed. And as a result, her life changed, right? I don't have any story, Nancy, of any client who's lost 150 pounds. I mean, I may, I think I did. I think I do, but I don't, that's not what I remember. I would remember how that person finally asked for a raise, right? Finally got the confidence to ask for a raise or move across the country or sell their house with no plan whatsoever because they had the confidence to do it. Those are the transformation stories I carry with me.
That's it's making me want to cry. That is an incredible transformation. Incredible. You literally changed her life. Like she did her own work, but you were the one that was guiding her and gave her the inspiration, gave her the blueprint to go and do that for herself. And literally her whole life has changed. Yeah. Beautiful. I love it. It's so beautiful. I love everything that you're doing. And, it's so important. It's just not this external thing, which is our vehicle for our souls and ourselves to, it's the thing that's going to keep us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I know you have different programs. Like, can you tell us where people can find and work with you? And I see you have a bunch of different coaching programs and, silver, gold, and platinum. Can you kind of go in and explain a little bit of how to work with you?
So again, I don't love the idea that there's just one cookie cutter plan for everyone, right? So I have tiers, and the tiers vary based on communication and customization, because some clients prefer more accountability. Some clients potentially who have an injury or limitation need more customization. So I don't want to stick them with the cookie cutter plan. Now, if you've just been out of the gym for 3 years and you pretty much know what you're doing, okay, then a cookie cutter plan is appropriate for you. And I have that also. So those are the 3 different tiers, right? Silver, gold, platinum. You want more of me? Fantastic. Good. I got a plan for that. Don't want to hear from me but once a week. Also have a plan for that. And then, as I mentioned, the inner outer strength program is is the program for people who are like, I would love to work with you, but I think I need a therapist first. I say, wait a second, I got you. I have a plan for that also. So that's the one where we spend, I have a weekly assignment that goes out. There's a group empowerment call every Sunday morning. You and I communicate on the phone once a week for kind of a one-on-one check-in. And in addition, if you want to use it, there is the training and nutrition component as well.
And I think they should go to you before. I mean, not to knock therapy, but literally it's such an interactive approach and you're really listening and addressing. I mean, yes, there's therapy, but I've been to therapy and it's talk. Like, can you give me something, please? So, yeah.
And again, I'm not saying that I don't knock therapy either.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, I wish therapists understood just how impactful movement could be, right? We all know that just walking makes you feel better and it's for free. So I wish that people would just journal and walk. And then in 2 weeks, if you still don't feel better, we can talk about therapy, but journal and walk.
And walking and getting out into nature. And if you can, even if you're in a cold environment, bundle up, get out into nature and commune with the nature and journal. And that's going to help you so much.
Absolutely.
So I know you're in Florida. And we had the pandemic. So you probably reach people all over the world through coaching, through Zoom or those kind of online communications. And then do you work with a lot of people one-on-one in Florida since it's warm and you can get in person over there? I would love to work in person with you.
You can. And for you, I would. However, I am selfish. And why would I work for 60 minutes with one person when I could hop online and answer 10 emails in 60 minutes, plus make a story that goes out to 103,000 people, right? So if you need me one-on-one, I will do a one-off session if you're in Florida, but I prefer the impact over the income. And I want to talk to as many people in one shot as I can. And unfortunately, that one-to-one limits my ability to do that.
Absolutely. And that's what a lot of coaches are doing, not just physical fitness, but people that are all these other programs, it's online. They're getting away from the one-on-one. And that's the beauty of what social media is right now and internet used the right way, because you can impact so many people at the same time globally, and your reach is that much farther.
That's it. So I think going back to your previous question, if they want to find me, obviously Instagram is the best way to do that. I respond to all of my messages personally. You could also go to jaimefiler.com, though that's not as interactive as actually messaging me on Instagram. That would probably be the best way to get in touch.
And I love that you actually answer. It's not a bot. You're actually answering and interacting with everybody on social, because, you can reach out to somebody that you're feeling influenced by, but then you never hear back from them. They're not having that integration or that relationship with their audience. So right now, what is lighting you up? We're going into 2023. Actually, this is airing in January 23. So what do you see for yourself in your business and for all the beautiful people that you're helping in 2023? What is your vision?
I love that. So I have one vision. It's to expand my team. So I'm in conversation with an actual board certified therapist right now. And I would love to have her on the team, because there are some people whose anxiety and depression, it is beyond the scope where just journaling and a walk will help. So I figure if I have a therapist that I trust and I know, and she's also a client of mine, so she knows how I converse with clients, what kind of training protocol. She takes her own physical fitness seriously. My people will trust her more, but also I'll feel better about referring my people to her. So she's going to join the team. And also my wife currently works for me as an assistant coach 2 days a week.
She's beautiful, by the way. You guys make a great couple.
Thank you. And I want to get her busier because we have a very different approach. I am much more empathetic, understanding, patient. My wife is the Jillian Michaels to my Bob Harper. So there are some people who are just like, listen, like, I love what you do and the anxiety and the mental health, but like, I need an actual coach. And so again, rather than refer out to someone else online, I'd rather just say, take my wife, please. Yeah.
So you're going to have like a full wellness. You're already doing the mental, emotional thing, but then having somebody that, like you said, just journaling and writing that really need a little more than what you can actually give is on your team. So they're literally mind, body, and spirit all in one place, all in one shot.
That is it.
And do you have steps in place, or do you have the blueprint or whatever? Is it already being structured where it might be launching in 2023, early, mid?
Yeah. So we're going to start with individual sessions and then go to a group format. So the same way I have a Sunday morning group, she would host her own group that's a little bit more focused on mental health and what people are struggling with, rather than those who are kind of struggling, but like really just want education and inspiration.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to lead so many people that I run into and talk to you and your website and your programs and your team. I love everything that you're doing. I absolutely love your energy. I want to be your best friend. I wish I lived in Florida. I'm moving to St. Petersburg. Like, knock, knock, knock. Let's go.
We're gonna hang out. Yeah. I'm just gonna, my Katie's going to be like, Jamie, Nancy's here again.
She can come too.
Anytime.
Yes. Here. Well, great. Thank you so much for coming. One more thing before you go. I always ask all my guests this. What does it mean for you to live with an awakened heart?
To live with an awakened heart means to also live with an open mind.
Mm-hmm. Awakened heart, an awakened and opened mind. Yeah. Thank you. Beautiful. Yeah. Simple, succinct.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Well, thank you very much for coming on today. And I really appreciate your heartfelt stories, your energy, everything that you're doing for people and women, men, everybody. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Awaken Heart Podcast. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, share it with a friend. And if you haven't already, head on over to your favorite podcast app to subscribe, rate, and review. If you have any comments, questions, or feedback, you can reach me at theawakenheartpodcast.com.